Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, welcome to Galactic Civilizations 3. There is actually something that I would like it if you guys could do. So, couple things. One, I would love it if you guys could come up with a description for my faction along with a description for my leader, essentially. These are their race traits and abilities, so you can go ahead if you want to use those to help you come up with the descriptions. Although one thing I will say, I wish there was just an edit button here rather than a delete and copy. A straight up edit button would be much more helpful. But also one of the things I would like you guys to do, if you could, is actually go and design some of your own civilizations. The reason being, I plan to go and do a series at some point in the future. Probably at some point early next year is what I'm figuring, but I'm not quite sure really. I'll actually narrow it down once I find out. As it stands right now, however, I will go ahead and tell you guys you have essentially until the end of the year to come up with your own race. Now, you don't have to go with just one. If you want, you can design yourself 5 different civilizations. That's fine with me. But at the very least, if you guys could, go and actually come up with some, because I would like to go and actually have something to have more interaction, so that you guys can have your own race in the game. That when I go and actually do a series on this game, or playing through this game, you will actually see your species or race, or at least you might, depending on whether or not certain things are in the game by that time, such as the ability to have it just select random opponents. As it stands right now, however, the game doesn't select random opponents. You have to select the ones you want to go up against. So yeah, you guys can go ahead, customize your leader, come up with a foreground, whether it is a picture like these are, or if it's a video like these. You guys can actually make... So, at least with the pictures, it's very easy. With the videos, I'm not quite sure if there's a specific format. I do believe there is. And so the videos are harder, I believe, to make. So, the pictures are currently the ones that need to be made, or are very easy to do. Same with background. You can either select any of these, and it will go from left to right and then down. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, and this is 7, and this is 8. You guys can select essentially any of those. You can select any of the pictures and videos and whatnot that are here. If, however, you do not want any of these, you can actually go and essentially just provide me a link to a picture that you want me to use. Let me know if you want it to be the foreground or background, although in some of the cases I should be able to quite easily tell if it's meant to be foreground or background, but nonetheless, you guys can go ahead, let me know what it is, provide me a link to it preferably so I can actually know the exact image you want. And I'll go ahead and add that in there when I go and make your race. And you can come up with the leader name, the simple description of the leader, the portrait for the leader. You can go ahead and make your own here. Either make it yourself or find one that you like, things like that. Come up with the race, their logo, like my custom logo here. The pictures themselves have to be 128 pixels by 128 pixels to my knowledge, although there might be some room for variation there. I didn't check every single one, but the ones that I did look at were all 128 by 128. Again, pixels. So you come up with the race name, the short name for them, their ship call signs, what the name of their home world is, what star system to use as their home. So mine, I use Sol, which means that I start out on a class 11 world with a class 5 world meant to represent Mars there. Although granted, because my homeworld name is just KOUR, it's not like called Earth and Mars. My homeworld is called KOUR, and then the other planet that's essentially meant to be Mars traditionally is just, what is it? I think it's Core 3 or something like that. Come up with a description for your faction. You can customize the startup screen if you want, so come up with a slogan, describe the race in more detail, strengths and weaknesses, things like that. Select their racial traits. This situation here, I think you might be better off screenshotting the page and essentially filling in the circles that you want me to select, and then providing me a link to said picture by uploading it somewhere. Google Plus would probably be a good place to upload it, but if you want, you can also go and upload it to, like, what is it, Imgur or whatever, or you can tweet it to me, things like that. Just in some way, shape, and or form, provide me this information. So yeah, I would say probably just screenshot this, fill in the circles that you want me to use. With the available trait points, you're not actually limited to 5. If you go with negatives, you actually gain additional points. So if you wanted to, you could be very unproductive, very unclever, but very influential and economical. You're discontent, you're not very fertile, you're densely popular, dense, modifies the amount of mass your ships can carry, so your ships can carry more. You're a bit klutzy, fairly militant, not very popular. You're pretty good traders. Although granted, if you're economical, maybe you don't want to be that. Maybe you want to go with that instead. Because you're not very fertile, you're also not the best of farmers. You're not very brutal, nor are you that tough or courageous. You're a bit inaccurate. Let's see. Got some good jamming abilities, so your ships are a bit harder to hit. You're very good at repairing your ships. You like to adventure. You're likable. Let's see. You are a bit observant, very fast, and organized. And you know what? No, you're actually very observant. And let's say you could be knowledgeable and ancient. This could, for example, be your racial trait setup. And you can select these. What do you want the interface theme to be? Let's say, you choose your in this case. And let's go with a medium orchid color for the map theme. Let's give you the your ship style and say you want the your inverted color scheme for your ships. And let's say you want the materials to be 5 and 5, and then this to use Promethean and Promethean there for the textures. The personality, you're benevolent, and let's see, you are diplomatic and greedy. You're peaceful and, what is it, spiritual? No, cultural. You are opportunistic and expansionist. Well, no, you're not actually expansionist because you're not that fertile, so you feel as though it's a good idea to keep most of the people on the home world, because otherwise your population will suffer. You're xenophobic, and you're traders as well. And then we can organize this and say you focus primarily on wealth. Military, logistics, and fortification are at the bottom. After wealth is influence. You're not very good at tech. You're pretty good at diplomacy. And this could, for example, be your race. Let's see. You maybe prefer the Iridium tech tree because it focuses on commerce and your primary focus is on wealth. And again, this could, for example, be your race. So yeah, I would say you guys, if you guys could, this is what I want you to do. so that I can go and have a lot more in the way of civilizations to fight when I actually go into that game. So I have a lot more. I have all these custom races that I could potentially fight, and for the most part will end up fighting. Because I feel as though it'll make it a bit more interesting of a game, personally, if I have all of these just wildly different species that I have to deal with. I don't have the standard, I don't have just the standard races, because the standard civilizations are very easily broken down into what they prefer. The Drengen are very much militaristic, and so if you're playing as a species like the Iridium Corporation, which is very much focused on wealth, and maybe you could then proceed to essentially buy Drengen as a military force for you and basically just send them out there to deal with your enemies for you. Assuming I haven't actually bothered looking to see if it's possible to ask someone to declare war on somebody else. If it's not, that's a shame, but if it is, that's wonderful. I'm pretty sure it was possible in GalCiv 2, although they might have potentially removed it in GalCiv 3 for all I know. Just because they didn't want people to abuse it, they figured that, oh hey, people are going to abuse that thing. So maybe they decided to remove it. Again, I don't know, I haven't really paid too much attention to that. But yeah, so this, again, is an example of what your race could be. Let's actually change the video, and let's actually go with a picture for the foreground. Let's see. Come on. We can go with that. Go with a picture for the background. Oh, here we go. And, oh, I like that. Yeah, that's fine. Leader portrait will, in this case, actually be that. And yeah, there you go. This could essentially be your species, if you want it to be. Of course, you have... this is just an example one, so I'm not actually going to give it a real name, per se. Go with that. And voila. There's a simple race, and I could have sworn I changed that image, did I not? Okay, I guess it didn't register for some reason there. But yeah, so this could, for example, be your race. And this is actually a somewhat interesting race, and if I were to go and actually put in the time to actually finish it off, I would. But I'm not going to because, well, to be honest, I don't particularly care to do so. My point being that, yeah, you guys could, if you wanted to, go and design something like this. A simple, well, not really simple, a fairly in-depth race. So you guys could go and do this, although this could probably stand to be better balanced because I killed the military manufacturing and I also killed their standard manufacturing, so they basically can't even build ships if they wanted to, especially since they're also klutzy, a little bit klutzy, so their maintenance is drastically increased. Well, not drastically, but it is increased. So this is not a very well balanced race, if I do say so myself. But the idea being that, yeah, you could go and do this. This is a race that if you wanted to, you could build it like this. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do, is design your own races. So again, probably a good idea to screenshot this part of the image and fill in these circles, obviously when they're not already filled in here. Let's go ahead and remove all of these so you can actually select the one you want. So go ahead, you can screenshot this, fill in the circles in like Photoshop or Paint or whatever, and upload the image to Google Plus and tag me in it, which just means doing Shift Plus and putting in my YouTube name, and that should tag me automatically on Google Plus. Or of course you can also just provide me a link to said comment or said post on this video. Actually, that works just as well. And for the race logos, starting up here, these are the standard ones. So these are actually called, if I recall correctly, Terran, Drengen, Altarian, and so on and so forth down the line. I think this is right when they start going to race logo 1 down to mine, which is actually labeled as race logo 70. And then I think after that is alternate ones of some of the ones up top. Yeah, this is, I think, like Drengen alternate, Iridium alternate, I think. I think this is Iconian alternate, Altarian alternate. This is generic, I believe, and this, I don't recall. Which one is that closest to? It's actually not closest to any of them. But yeah, so that's the way that is. So this is race logo 70, which is mine. You can obviously go and select your own race logo, and I'll go ahead and add that in there, and it'll be race logo 71 and things like that. But yeah, so there you guys go. Please go make custom races, design them. Let me know what their things are here. So what the interface theme's meant to be, the map theme, ship style, ship colors, what materials you want these to be. Especially if you own the game, it's probably easy to do this because you can actually see all of the choices. Honestly, I didn't pay too much attention when it came to designing the ship for mine. I basically just went with the Terran ship design, gave it Terran inverted, and went with essentially this design. That was it. It's pretty much the exact same as a standard ship for the Terrans. It's just slightly different, ever so slightly different. But yeah, so you guys could go and do that. Something like this. Simple little race. I went with Terran there, and I think I went with cornflower blue. But yeah, so please, if you guys could be so kind, design some custom races for me so that I can actually go ahead and put them in the game. And when I go and actually do a let's play, as I guess I'll just refer to it as, of this game, I will go ahead and have the custom races in the game, and we will see how things turn out. So I'll actually go down the rest of the line. So basic tech tree, which I believe is what minor factions use. You got the Terran, which is balanced, which is what I used. The Thalans, which is focused on military and research. The Yor, which is focused on synthetic life. Research and influence for the Altarians. Military and production specialization for the Drengen. Expansion for the Iconians. Commerce for the Iridium. Corporation, I believe, is what they label themselves as. The Kryn are focused on influence and approval, and then back to the basic tech tree. And then, of course, you've got the different ones. This is essentially a very peaceful. These guys, I would say, is probably more so focused on anything that deals with like commerce and trade and things like that. Because they've got one that like doubles the amount of resources you get from just the different resources in the game. So rather than getting just say one, Durantium, you now get double that. So you get 2 Durantium. And as I upgrade the space station that has that there, I believe I actually get even more. So rather than getting 2 with a double upgraded, mining barracks, I believe, is the second level mining upgrade for mining star bases, essentially. So it's the first upgrade for mining after the mining ring. And that, I believe, gives me double of the resource, and so then I actually get 4 if I go and have pragmatic and I have a specific or a specific thing. One of the ideology choices under pragmatic, you've got malevolent, which is very much militaristic focused. And yeah, that's actually going to be that. So I'm going to go back out. As I said, I would like it if you guys could be so kind as to design a custom race or finish off some of the aspects of my custom race that I did not actually really do. So got my race's slogan. If you guys could be so kind as to describe my race in more detail, because I don't actually have any actual description, because I just designed this thing very quickly. I'm not very good when it comes to coming up with things, so I didn't really spend much time focused on this. And then describing my strengths and weaknesses, and actually my species could stand to have a lot more in the way of work done here, because I didn't fill out this entire thing, and you don't have to, guys. You don't have to. But if you could be so kind as to just sort of finish helping me design my race, essentially. And actually, I should probably go and show you guys what all these different abilities are for the racial abilities. So engineers, shipyards decay at half of the normal rate. I can't quite say I've ever seen shipyards decay completely, so I'm not quite sure what that does and whether or not that's really a useful thing. Ancient gets research from precursor artifacts. Patriotic, immune to the large empire approval penalty, which if I recall correctly is for each colony you have, you get a 0.2 to large empire approval penalty, and because I have patriotic, my guys do not care if I am a large empire. Now, granted, I don't really go and actually expand that quickly, personally, because I'm not really... I tend to sort of turtle a little bit. I expand fairly slowly, but I also tend to focus a lot on having a good economy and bringing in a lot of money. Because if I bring in a lot of money, I figure, okay, that can offset any penalties that I get in terms of production and things like that, of not being a large empire. So I would like it, the thing I want you guys to do is actually go and come up with a simple description for my faction, and come up with a description of my race in more detail, and a describing my strengths and weaknesses, and a description for my leader. And so yeah, okay, I actually went with ocean here. I thought I went with Terran inverted, but I guess I changed my mind at some point and went with the ocean theme, but whatever. Although I need to actually finish this off, so we're not going to be a very influential species in the future. Okay, we're fairly content. We're fairly fertile. We're fairly handy. We're not very dense. We're not that militant. We're not that popular with tourists. Nor are we traders. We're a bit of farmers. We're fairly brutal. Not that courageous, though. We're not all that tough. We're a little fragile. Not that agile either. We are fairly resilient, fairly observant, fairly fast, and actually I would like to have fairly organized, so we're going to... Oh, let's see what I want to decrease more. Let's see. You know what? Actually, we're not all that content. And we're going to say that we are very fast. No, actually, we're going to go and set off the... what is it? Where is it? Come on. I'm going to offset the ship range. There we go. That's fine. Okay, so this is my edited edition of my race. A little bit more in depth, I guess. Best way to describe it. Also, I should probably actually go and do this. So we are greedy, and values chances to come out ahead in any situation. Yeah, we're opportunistic, we'll say. Yeah, we're not very cultural. We're not very spiritual either. We're not much in the way of traders. We're not that xenophobic per se. We're just not popular with the people when it comes to this. Focus on logistics more than military. Protection of existing assets. Not really. And we're going to be a little bit more influential than we are in growth. Actually, no, we'll switch that. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. We don't really focus on the protection of our existing assets as a species. Let's see what else I want to do to finish them off. Actually, that's fine. Actually, you know what? No, I think expansion's fine right there. So yeah, this is actually, yeah, there we go. The edited edition of my race. You guys, like I said, please design some of your own. Let me know what the choices are here for yours, and let me know essentially some of the finishing off here. And actually, you know what? We shall just turn it to that for the sake of having a little bit more there. Just 2 letters seems a bit odd to me. So there we go. That's my customized edition of my original race, which I'm actually going to copy again and change the leader name to just that. And we're going to delete that one. This one I'll keep for now because I'm currently using it in a game. This one I'll keep, of course, because this is the one that I'll actually use in the future once you guys have come up with a description and whatnot for me. And again, I would like it for you guys to go and design your own. But I've repeated so many things throughout this, so I'm actually going to go and cut this off here. As always, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, share, and I will see you guys next time. And I hope to see what kind of races you guys come up with. But until then, goodbye and farewell.